Hey, Cannapreneurs. Before we get started with today's show, I just want to mention one of our sponsors. Dairy Berry's Recording Studio, located in Arvada, Colorado, is your local recording studio with affordable rates and will make your music, your show, or any audio you have sound great. Take a look at dairyberriesrecordingstudio.com. Open up, Colorado. It's 420. Time to grind and burn.
This is not your son's stoner show.
Welcome, friends, family, Cannapreneurs. This is Brainstorm, once again bringing you your weekly podcast high up in Denver, Colorado, exploring the business side of this newly emerging economy while living the lifestyle. Hey, Cannapreneurs, let me take a second just to tell you about Cushly Organic Products. Their company puts out products that are used in hospitals, healthcare facilities, clinics, and homes throughout the United States and beyond. So Cushly has invented this very unique product that works like none other. I use it myself, and many of my close friends and family use it. What it does is it eliminates odor. It doesn't mask it. It's not a perfume. It's not a cologne. It eliminates it. And it's organic and it's non-toxic. And Cushly is one of the best. www.cushly.com. Also find them on Facebook and other social media under the same name. Cushly Organic Products. You seem to have a real intuitive ability to kind of foresee things. If you understood that you had that ability, I would be scared to have thoughts, right? That could have been the vision, right? I remember there's a story real quick. When I was 14 or 15 years old, I was sitting in class, and I was a hooligan. I was a young hooligan kid, always in trouble. The law, school, everything, expelled from school, everything. I was a bad kid. I mean, just to get weirdly serious on it, I was actually carrying a firearm at school. I had a pistol in my pants, and I was sitting in Spanish class. And I remember having this feeling, this overwhelming urge, like get up, get out of the class, and just get out of there as fast as possible. And it was the weirdest feeling, the most overwhelming feeling of the body. And not more than maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes later, the principal came to the door of the school, and I remember he asked the teacher in Spanish, if he could see Mr. blah, 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 to the office. And he said, follow me back to the office. And I was walking behind him, and I remember the whole time feeling, just run, find a trash can, throw it away in the trash can, just run, get away. Because I was behind him. I could have easily just bolted down the hallway or anything. Enough time to get it away from me or something. But I just followed him to the office, walked to the door, and there were sitting two sheriff deputies waiting to question me about something else that I had done. And then after 20 or 30 minutes of questioning me about this, one of them just kind of casually said, oh, have we patted him down yet? Right? 30 minutes after into this. So you can imagine what was going on inside of me for almost this 30, 40-minute process. And there was discovered and drastically changed the next, couple years of my life. But all about wound out to be why I eventually ended up in Denver as a young 18-year-old hooligan. So if you have those intuitions and those feelings and thoughts, I would very much be scared of them, because I've had a number of those incidences in my life where it was almost a foreshadowing. I could just see it, like a movie playing itself out, and then things coming true, and then having that feeling of every thought you have of questioning, is this the one? Is this the real one, or is this just the made-up one?
That's not a gun, is it?
Bang!
So my name's Mitch Dickman. I'm the producer and director of Rolling Papers.
Rolling Papers, documentary, right?
Yep.
The documentary following the Denver Post and the Ricardo Baca, very specifically.
And then there's projects like these where you get a little bit of development money and you go out and you're like, let's see if something's there. Let's see if it's worth it to spend the time and energy it takes to do a project.
And this was the first one that was specifically kind of on this, which was kind of the big story that came about. How did the relationship with the Denver Post and this start?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
They said hell no. No, Britta Erickson, again, she'd done a film called Convention in 2008 around the Democratic National Convention, and one of her characters / storylines was someone within the Denver Post. So,
how much money does it actually take to fund a film like this?
$3.
$3? Bucket of chicken?
Yeah, no. No, we can't disclose the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry.
I mean, are we talking about, large budgets comparable to maybe...
Yeah, it's in the it's under $1 million.
Okay. Do you feel emotionally drained?
No, I enjoy it a lot. And then, I'm developing stuff, so pitching stuff and raising money for projects. So you kind of get them at all three phases: development, production, and distribution. I mean, I've still freelanced for the man a lot, there was a time I did a lot of commercials, and I was definitely like ad agencies and clients and those type of things. That's felt like working for the man.
Did you ever do any non-media stuff? Did you ever?
Yeah, I poured concrete. I waited tables at Ruby Tuesday. I worked at a ski shop in Arvada, and then I poured concrete for 3 years.
That's the transition I want to know about, is when did you go from doing just jobs in life to finding this career, this path that you're on?
I mean, you kind of got to wait for moments to happen, Like when we're having interviews, you do a very good job. Like you and I are having eye contact. I'm not staring at the microphone, while I'm talking to you, because that freaks me out. It makes me nervous. No, you're just having a conversation with someone.
Yeah, and definitely there was some people that I was really wondering how you got them involved, like the Dr. J's guy.
Persistence.
I look forward to your next feature. Is there a specific website that kind of updates what you're working on, what's coming out?
I'm so bad about that. I'm not on social media.
No?
My website hasn't been updated in like 2 years.
No social media?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's listenproductions.com, but it hasn't been updated in a while.
So when the movies come out, they just come out and...
Well, I mean, like, this is good, man. We have a distributor and a publicist that tells me where to go and who to talk to, and not what to say. I can still do me.
I was talking to, the publicist?
Yeah, Elena.
Okay, yeah. Is she also local here?
No, they're in LA. Hollywood? Yeah, no, it's not like that at all.
Very cool.
Cool.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you, man.
And thanks for coming down, and feel free to patron the place if you want.
Hey, Cannapreneurs! Are you inspired by the stories you hear? Maybe it's time for you to tell your own story. Do it right here on this show. CannabisCommunityProject.com or email me personally. Brainstorm at CannabisCommunityProject.com.
What we decided to do was help people, teach them to learn how to do it themselves, to grow for themselves, and create a community of people who are helping each other out. The whole idea behind our business is to create a community of people that just love and supports and helps each other grow, and just grow as individuals, grow our own medicine, grow an amazing community of just awesomeness everywhere. Like big hippies.
Awesomeness everywhere. That's good.
And a lot of times when people are sick, they can be isolated. I've taught special ed, and it's the parents. And you're about to be a parent, too, for the second time, right? And a lot of times, God willing that nothing is wrong with your child, but a lot of times when a parent has a child that is born with a different abled ability, they're isolated. The other parents, they don't want them around. They don't invite them for the play date. They don't have them. So the parent is just out there alone. And then when they have to start school, as a teacher, I've seen parents, the paperwork of the arts, they overwhelmed because nobody wants their child like that. They don't know what to do. They go through anger, shame, and sometimes they snap at us, the teachers, And I understand it's just that they're a parent, man. They just want their child to be.
Isolation can drive anybody. I mean, that's the most cruelest form of punishment from the prison system down is to isolate somebody causes insanity.
Right.
I mean, as social beings, we need to be in contact with other people. Project Radio Show. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm here to check out what you got, maybe purchase it. Do you mind if I record you?
I'm really not comfortable with that, man.
Oh no.
What just happened to the CannabisCommunityProject.com? Coming to you from Canada, it is Elijah. MedicalMarijuanaReviewShow.com. This is Elijah coming to you from Canada. I'd like to say a special thank you to and his cool program sponsored by Kushley. Coming to you live from Canada. I just want to tell you a little bit about MMPR. I was in my igloo, just a freezing, grabbed me a seal skin in my club. Of course, you guys know how it is down in Colorado. All you live in, like, Yeti territory where there's abominable snowmen, and the elites love to ski. Look, love my United States brothers and sisters, all jokes aside. Let's talk about medical cannabis in Canada. Here's some real cool facts. Currently, there's some big changes in effect where medical cannabis patients may very well be able to grow their own medical cannabis. In the next 6 months, we're going to have a ruling passed down. Some laws are going to change. And it should be quite interesting to see what happens. Now, as far as legalization goes in Canada, that's up to Justin Trudeau, and he smiles a lot. So it's hard to say when that's going to happen because he knows more than we do. He's a very busy lad. And no doubt the good people in the Canadian government will legalize or decriminalize marijuana at their discretion on behalf of the people doing so with the best of intentions. Now, MMPR in Canada right now, what it means, you need to get an actual medical prescription from a doctor for a valid medical condition in order to receive medical cannabis treatment. Isn't that awesome? Elijah's telling you the truth. That's right. www.medicalmarijuanareviewshow.com up in Canada. In order to get medical cannabis, you have to have a valid prescription, so you would have need to have seen a doctor or specialist. And so really what needs to happen is you get your appointment. We help to line that up at the medicalmarijuanareviewshow.com for Canadians looking to get prescribed medical cannabis for valid medical conditions. So what happens, they see the doctor, they write them a prescription, they talk about edibles, vaping, and consuming, and the 29 different licensed producers that are currently out there in Canada as of March 2nd, and this is approximate numbers. And then the patient makes that really painful decision of which single licensed producer they want. That is hard on the head. Now, currently, it's possible to have more than one licensed producer, but you need to see a doctor and have that prescribed on a second appointment. Now, if that's not referred by your regular physician, you got to pay that out of pocket. We help to circumvent that whole process. I remember when I tried to get medical cannabis, it took me quite a long time to finally get my prescription and then have it all processed and receive my first order. But when I did, in fond memory, it was Tweed that I was partnered with, and which they were terrific. I want to say a shout out to the director of marketing and CEO of Tweed right now for being such sweethearts through so many different circumstances as we review all these different strains. They've been very supportive, tweeting and retweeting for us. But started with Tweed, and the first one was, I called it a real gunslinger, was Strange Love by Tweed, and it was a copper pot blend, real pleasing. I tell you, compared to the average street cannabis in Canada, it was head and shoulders above it, and it just kept getting better. I tried Tweed's Donegal, but then something revolutionary happened. I met a good friend of mine, now a show sponsor for the MedicalMarijuanaReviewShow.com up here in Canada, Noah Starr with CanStarProp.ca. Noah Starr also introduced me to some other terrific folks who helped me to bring this whole dream to fruition. Look, I've just got to say this. CannabisCommunityProject.com has a lot going on down there, and being sponsored by Kushley, they don't take it lightly, and they love their sponsors, and also they love the patients and advocates. And I really have to say that the kind of community support that we've received from these cool cats, subscribing to our channels, liking our stuff, and checking us out online, we appreciate that content view, and we certainly return the favor here at the MedicalMarijuanaReviewShow.com, sponsored by Vape.ca. Be neat to see where they take vaping in the future. I think they're a real industry standard and a company to look to. And that's my personal choice because, licensed producers can't pay someone in Canada to advertise. Partnerships are a different sort of thing. My show is pretty funny. It's all about being silly and having some great guests and cool sponsors and educating. You've got to check out my episode where I make the offer for Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, to come on and get his license under MMPR and take it from there. He's got a great sense of humor. He's a terrific leader, dynamic. It's good to talk to you. Good to see you. If you haven't heard so today, you look great. You lost some weight, and glad to hear things are going better. And if not, remember the glass is half full. Where there's life, there is hope. Sun's going to rise again tomorrow. And if I don't get to see you in this world, I'll see you in the next world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are Irish Side, coming out of Oceanside, Riverside, California, eh? Bring you good times with that good music. Grab your pistols. Pistol by my side and I'm back on my own. No place to go, no place to call home. Pistol by my side and I'm all alone. Pistol by my side and I'm back on my own. No place to go, no place to call home. Pistol by my side and I'm all alone. I used to be the type who just shoot from the hip, but since she's left my side, I button my two lips. Cool, calm, collected, she's a girl I have selected. Pull her out a holster when I wanna see her naked. Wouldn't shoot no blanks, these are real explosions. Wouldn't tell no lies, these are real emotions. She's headed for the door, I got no power to stop her. There's a pistol by my side, cause I think I just lost her. Pistol by my side. Pistol by my side. Pistol by my side. Pistol by my side.
Check.
Mary Smith.
Hey, Mary. This is and what's going on?
I'm great.
Okay, good.
How long do you usually go?
20-some minutes. I mean, it really just depends on how much you have to say.
Well, I'm no fun at all, so it's going to be short.
There's really no time limit per se on that, but let's learn about you.
I'm Mary Smith, the CEO of Greenito, the customer engagement platform for the cannabis industry, and I'm excited to be here with you today.
Excellent. I've been on your website all week long trying to learn as much as I can about you. The first thing I wanted to ask was about the name pronunciation. I was saying like Greenito, and it sounds like that's kind of what you said. Is that the correct name?
It's Greenito, and it is not a word that means anything else. What it means to us is an easy way for consumers to basically connect buyers and sellers.
I wasn't sure if there was like a Spanish derivative of like the itos and like a little green or a wordplay going on there.
Well, I'm sure there's some sort of Latin derivation, but the real reason that we did it is that it's short, it's easy to remember, and it connects the green. And the green to us is not only the marijuana side of it, but the money side of it. We want to be a financial transaction platform for dispensaries in this network, in this industry. And when they don't have a lot of options, we really open up a way to reach buyers that would like to use a credit card to make a purchase and to reach buyers and teach them more about what marijuana can do for them.
Excellent. So you're saying we. Who's the we? Do you want to introduce your team, who you're working with?
Our group is varied and lives all over the place. So we have a team of people, and we have a presence with dispensaries in 5 states now.
Okay. Little by little, working your way out. Are you based here in Colorado?
We are based in Denver, Colorado, yes, and that's where we started. Our intention is to be in every one of the legal, both legal for recreational and legal medical markets in the country and internationally. We feel very strongly that people worldwide want the information that we provide.
How long ago did you start this?
Greenito went live in May of 2015. so 8 months ago, but we had been working on it for years before that. It took about a year to develop the software platform that is Greenito, and we work tirelessly to improve and tweak that platform and to make product expansions as well all the time.
Are you one of the founding members? Is this
Yes,
your
I am.
idea?
It's my idea, yeah, and I'll tell you a little bit about how I came to that idea. I started my career many years ago at the Carlyle Group, which is a big merchant bank private equity firm. I then became a management consultant and spent about a decade bringing new products to existing markets or existing products to new markets. So I worked with big companies to launch new things like Bausch & Lomb eyeglasses in Eastern Europe and working with Nestle to introduce their products in Latin America. This is a lot like that. So I spent some time looking at the cannabis industry in its infancy as it became medically legal in different states, and especially as the retail idea was sort of looming in Colorado. And I spent some time looking at all of the different facets of the industry and worked with some people to raise them some money for their grows and their various parts of the industry. And then I thought, you know what, we're missing a couple of big things. We're missing a financial services platform, and we're missing a lot of the data that is readily available in other retail industry. And in order to get to that data, you really have to talk with a lot of different people. And in order to do that, you have to have inspiring content and a reason for people to come out and visit your site and learn and spend time looking at what you have to offer. Once you have them in the door, you can use all different kinds of tools to find out more about what that customer base looks like. So we've spent the last 8 months getting down to a very granular level of what the marijuana user looks like. And we can say with some certainty that they like salty snacks more than they like sweet snacks, for instance. The people on our site skew a little bit female, a little bit in the 30 to 50 range, both male and female. And that's very instructive for advertising and for expansion of the market, because as you can advise other companies in other markets that are just beginning, like the Pennsylvania or Maryland market. It matters when you're locating your dispensary. It matters who you're trying to sell to. And you want to make the easiest sales, and you want to make inroads into the larger part of the industry. What we like to say around here is we love stoners, but that's not the only part of the cannabis market.
Yeah.
We want for it to be open to a vast group of users. We really think that it's much more similar to the pharmaceutical market than it is to the alcohol market, because it treats so many. It's a remedy for so many symptoms. And we think that as this market grows, it's going to grow in the direction of people really wanting to understand more and more about what the product does, how it's going to affect them, how they should use it, what their different options are, and really be able to experiment in a safe and knowledgeable way. Right now, we're not doing a very good job of, not we, Greenito, are doing a very good job of providing people with that information. The industry, however, makes it really difficult for consumers to access their product, and that's improving very gradually. We want to help that out.
Well, I really like that outlook and the background where you're coming from. And it really helps legitimize the industry when you come from that business background and you really look at building an infrastructure of a business, educating people, and just bringing that sense of professionalism to the industry. Just helps everybody, even the stoners.
It does help everybody. And sometimes you have to draw dispensary owners through the process because it's so busy and it's so hard to start a business, even when it's not in a new industry. But so that's why we developed the back end of our system to really involve, margin calculators for their promotion. So they know exactly how much they're going to make and where they can limit their promotion so that they don't sell out or so that they don't go below a margin threshold that they're not comfortable with. You want to advertise your product to the extent that you expand your market, but you don't want to advertise your product to the extent that you're losing money. So, that's sometimes a really fine line Luckily, we're not working in an industry that has these razor-thin margins, so there's a lot of opportunity, and we hope that by being an informational, aspirational brand where people can understand what they're getting and understand what the next steps are, that's going to draw more people into using this product. And that's a real opportunity, which is great.
Yeah. And I've been thinking about this actually for a number of years, especially here in Denver, as you're familiar with the Westward paper. Really since, 2012 or so, kind of dominated the print advertising because there was very few outlets of where people who had stores or dispensaries could really advertise and find their market. And it was always my question of what is the real return these guys are getting, because the Westward is 80% advertising. They're all dispensaries, they're all the same discounts, but yet what other choice do they have? And to me it just felt like one of those lose-lose situations where they're kind of forced to spend thousands of dollars in all this marketing just to stay alive, but is it even doing anything at all? There's not a lot of outlets out there, at least there weren't, and more I'm starting to talk to more people like yourself who are really starting to show how there's more outlets of marketing and advertising than just using your local print magazine that's turned into the Stoner magazine.
Well, the person that runs Westward, Patty Calhoun, is one of my dearest friends. I really, really like her. And I'm delighted that that's a vehicle for dispensaries to get the word out. I think dispensaries, a lot of them don't have the resources to really dig into how to market their product. You're right. A lot of the offers are exactly the same. A lot of the discounts are exactly the same. It's a hard world to differentiate yourself. And that's why with Greenito, there's no charge to dispensaries. Dispensaries get to put up images of their dispensary. They can put up images of their staff. They can have a detailed description. They get a map. They really get to use it as much or as little as they want to. They can even use our platform as their website. Frequently, it's too much of an investment for some dispensaries to do their own website and drive people to content. It's a lot. In fact, we're about to launch CRM, which is a customer relationship management tool called Dispensary Resource, which is kind of a hybrid of Constant Contact and Salesforce that will be able to take their customer list and automate the marketing to them. And the reason that we want to do that is that we have a ton of award-winning content that was expensive to develop and deliver, and we want to link that right into their systems so that they don't have to worry about driving content or making up recipes or formatting or any of those things that is time-consuming and expensive for dispensaries to deal with. It's fun to look through some of the content that we have on our site. We've answered the question, how much is an ounce, more than 500,000 times in the last 3 months.
Well, the answer has got to have changed a little bit, right?
It changes, and it changes market to market. But we give people tools to be able to figure out the answer. A lot of those people are wondering how much volume that is, and they're all very shocked to know that it's a salad bowl full of weed. But having comparative photographs so that you can understand kind of what a volume is. When you used to buy weed on the street, everybody had marijuana in college, or they say, I did it once in school or something like that, and they did it because Phil had weed. Not because it was a response, not because they were looking for some particular effect. In fact, the effects are widely varied. And sometimes they would say, well, it was good weed or it was bad weed. It's a totally different world now. And so giving people more information about it up front informs that purchasing decision.
Right, absolutely. And I would say that has definitely changed. For me, the most notable change over the last 5 years is what you just described. It used to be just good weed or bad weed. Now there's a whole scale of what good means and a very short list of what bad is. But
well, good, really, what matters is what you want from it.
Right.
So the problem is that you can get good weed that is great for helping you sleep. And that might be really good weed unless what you want to do is go see a concert.
Right.
And then you're kind of hosed because you have really good weed that does what it's supposed to do, but what it's supposed to do is make you sleep.
Yeah.
And right now we have the ability to understand what's available in the market and to drive people to remedies that are appropriate for the condition that they're trying to treat.
Right.
I believe that's the future of this industry. I think what you see already in sales is a majority of sales going to processed product, whether that be a marijuana-infused product like an edible or a concentrate in a vape kind of scenario. You're seeing people move away from, I think it's almost 60% of purchases are in a processed variety as opposed to flower.
The market's kind of dictating a lot of that as regulation helps steer the market. Also, bringing in new people to the market who were not lifelong stoners or smokers need a different type of catalyst to break into the market. And sometimes smoking flower is just too much of a stigma for somebody new to the market.
Spent the last 40 years teaching people not to smoke.
Right.
It doesn't surprise me that people are choosing other vehicles to deliver this product. They still want the benefits. They still want the experience. They don't necessarily want to smoke it. That means to me that we will move away from this strains concept very rapidly. Right now, we're reviewing strains. We're talking about the effects of various strains. I'm not even convinced that these strains are particularly consistent. I think they hybridize almost immediately.
I think that you can get a good confirmation from most people that there is no real consistency. Most of these names come from nowhere. They're made up. There's no record or regulation or any type of real consistency in the name or just what people think they're getting. But aside from all that, because that's a whole process that's going to take a long time to kind of figure out. It's going to probably take a more nationalized cooperation of people to figure out what does it mean when you say OG Kush from California to New York, or what do these things actually mean in consistency?
Well, I think that as people spend more time and more money in this industry, they'll see patterns. And we'll be collecting those patterns as far as seeing how people are purchasing. It's a lot easier to review and understand the effects of specific products and dosages than it is strains.
Right.
So strains, if you're smoking flower, you can do it with a joint, you can do it with a bowl, you can do it with a pipe, you can, use a potato. There's a ton of different ways to smoke weed, but each of those things can provide a very different effect. I tell this to my coworkers and investors all the time. In any normal testing environment, you have a y-axis and an x-axis, and you take note of each of the variables on each axis, and you're able to provide answers based on what's happened. In which case you've got your human, you've got male, female, you've got height, weight, you've got all of this kind of stuff, and then you've got strain. Well, in this case, you have a third dimension for your research. And by going from a flat axis to a cube, you've got exponentially more data points that you have to take into account, including what you eat, what time is it, where are you in, your other processes in your life, how did you deliver said product. It's a lot easier to do with something that's already taken some of the variables out, and that's why we're seeing the activity in the edibles market. We have trained people to buy products. Sure, we buy salad stuff, but the productized, pre-washed lettuce that's on the market is flying off the shelves, and stuff you have to do something to is lagging behind because that's how consumers in America work right now. So we'll continue to see that kind of activity in the product versus strain purchasing model. And I'm really fascinated by that.
Yeah, hopefully one day in the future we'll just advance to the point of having an app where we can push a button and it'll wirelessly inject THC into our bodies, right?
Well, and that's the question. Does it inject it? Does it have to be delivered through vapor? Is it faster? When you eat it versus, I don't know of any way to inject it, but that doesn't mean that somebody's not somewhere.
No, I'm sure by that time in the future, just a visualization of looking at it will change the chemistry in your brain, and that'll be enough, the photo alone. Can you give me a compare and contrast to what you're doing versus, let's say, like a Known Leafly or a Weed Maps, where they're kind of categorizing for dispensaries a checkout menu with photos and products?
Sure. Our service is for both consumers and for dispensaries. So when somebody clicks Buy It Now on one of our coupons, they buy the promotion. The actual transaction doesn't happen until the product changes hands at the dispensary. So we are a legal way to have a consumer commit to a purchase prior to being in that dispensary. And that is the name of the game for dispensaries who want to expand their reach. Advertising impressions aren't worth anything unless they're bringing somebody in the door. And with us, once they commit to that product, they are exponentially more likely to walk in the door and use their coupon, at which point that merchant has the ability to create a relationship and to upsell that consumer and to really have that great relationship. The name of the game is getting them in the door. That's why Groupon works. That's why Living Social works. It's about attracting people to the product or the set of products or the package that is advertised on our site and having them actually act on it, especially for travelers. This is a great tool for them to come in for our content and click out with an actual coupon in their hand, because when they get on the plane, they're not going to go to the place that they see off the highway necessarily. They're going to go to the place that they have a dedicated coupon for. So,
let's walk through this slowly, because you said something that I think should be really focused on about the payment processing aspect, because it sounds like that's a pretty distinguishing factor with what you're doing. So let's back up and walk through that. So when somebody's on your site and they're viewing a product list of one of your members that have registered, and they want to actually purchase from somebody that's within their proximity because they have to physically go there, right?
In some areas, like California is a state where delivery is not only available, it's widespread. The use of it is widespread. So about 40% of medical marijuana purchases in California are delivered to the end user. Wow. So in that case, they click the Buy It Now button on a promotion. Say you want a starter kit, and you find a dispensary that has a good-looking starter kit that's the right thing and is the right package for you. You click Buy It Now, you can access the unique code identifying number on your phone, or there's a QR code that can be read by the dispensary or the delivery person, as the case may be. So you go in either with a printed out coupon or you go in with it on your phone. You can just open your account on your phone within the site, and then it's redeemed right at the time that the product changes hands. So you go and you get your stuff, just like Groupon. You click on Groupon, you say, I found Thai food, I'm hungry for Thai food, I'm going to click this and I get 20% off my Thai food order, or I get $100 for $90 on my Thai food order. You go to the Thai food restaurant, you eat your Thai food, you present them with the coupon, and your transaction is complete.
Now, the part that you're referring to as kind of locking them in, are they actually putting in their credit card information on your site?
Right in our site. Mm-hmm.
But then it processes once they get to their location.
No, it processes on our site because what they're buying is that promotion. We're a marketing company, so they're buying the promotion itself. When the promotion is redeemed on site, the money is transferred to an account for that merchant within our site. And then each of those dispensary partners has a dashboard within our site where they can see what promotions they have running, how each of those promotions is performing, how they're performing against each other. They can see how much is in their account with us, and they can direct the proceeds of their promotion to themselves. We can transfer it to their bank, or we can transfer it to a third party, whether it's a vendor or a staff member. We can ACH transfer those funds directly to a vendor like that to pay their bills.
Wow. Now, can you just real quick give out your contact information? Because after saying that, I know there's going to be people who want to talk to you about this, about some very specifics of just the logistics and legalities and everything with that. So instead of consuming a bunch of time with me trying to pick apart the details, how about if somebody's interested, they can just get a hold of you and you can talk to them about it?
Sure. That's a great idea. You can find out all kinds of information at www.greenito.com. And at the bottom is simply send us an inquiry, and we're happy to get back to you. Our phone number is 303-263-0002. That's 303-263-0002. We are a great solution for both consumers and dispensaries.
All right, I can think of a few people who are going to want to know more about that, just because this is the big question of there's a lot of barriers and there's a lot of mud out there that's making it hard to walk through the streets, and we need to figure out a way to get the money moving around. So whether it's doing what you're doing or somebody else creating another hybrid system, we got to facilitate consumerism a little bit more to help grow the industry.
The name of the game is connecting buyers and sellers. What we call it in the consulting industry are friction points. If you think about friction makes stuff hot and sticky when it's not smooth. And unfortunately, this industry has a lot of difficult friction points. We have a growing yet uninformed customer base. We have a limited and frequently unreliable information from a variety of crazy sources that may be correct, maybe isn't. We need reliable sources of information. We have a very volatile, inconsistent regulatory environment. We have an untested and unreliable product mix. We have zero customer data for merchants, and we're a primarily cash-only industry. For us, for consumers, the users don't have any way to explore consumption preferences. They don't have any way to store that. Marijuana and cannabis use is still widely viewed as taboo. The businesses can have a really intimidating atmosphere. But this is actually a funny one to me because I liken it to people like buying condoms from a pharmacist. Like that really reduces, probably increases the pregnancy rate. But we've moved away from that. Right now we have a growing consumer base that wants to be a part of this industry. They want to buy this stuff and they're scared to death to do it. Yeah. And we're not making it easy for them. The experience isn't like what they're used to. By and large, bud tenders are well informed. They're presentable. They're friendly. Smart dispensaries have really friendly bud tenders, but it's super expensive to have a bud tender spend 40 minutes explaining what a vape pen is to somebody who's never used one.
Right.
That's part of the problem that we're trying to solve.
Right.
The industry has zero real e-commerce, and we want to position ourselves as a way to replicate the e-commerce experience while not actually selling the product. We sell promotions. We're a marketing company. What if consumers use this to pre-checkout and that line experience is done? What if your starter kit is ready and waiting for you and just can be picked off the shelf and handed to you instead of a 45-minute wait on a Friday afternoon?
I agree. I very rarely go to dispensaries, but when I do, I hate it mostly because of just the nonsense. The waiting, the going through the whole process, having to fill out that ridiculous questionnaire. If you're a first-timer, having to have them ask you actual questions like, what are you looking for, pain and treatment? I just want a store. I don't want to be in a clinic. There is kind of a conflict between a medical and a recreational setup that hasn't quite been separated. But one thing you said that made me laugh real quick was talking about the pharmacist and kind of deterring people. Because I spent some years in Mexico not too long ago. There was a high percentage of women that used birth control in their shampoo because it helped their hair become healthy and strong.
Wow.
At first I thought, wow, these guys really figured something out. Until I realized that to get any type of anything, including condoms, you had to actually stand in front of a 55-year-old, conservative man who was the pharmacist and ask him.
Right.
So I realized that, so what's going on is people now all of a sudden have adopted that they need birth control to put in their shampoo because it makes their hair healthy and strong. And what you're really pointing out is that people will get what they need and they'll lie if they have to. And if they can't, then they just won't use it and the negative consequences will happen as a result. But I absolutely agree with that we shouldn't be creating friction or barriers or a shame culture to have people interact within this industry and feel any of those types of things.
So what we're doing is providing some information up front so that we can make it a comfortable experience for the consumer. And that's really important. In fact, I'm speaking at the National Cannabis Cannabis Industry Association convention in June in Oakland, California. And I'm talking about the importance of your brand and the images to associate with your brand, because a grower is very, very attached to and knowledgeable about flower. And so everybody's got big pictures of shiny flower, and the consumer can't tell the difference, doesn't know what the difference is. Think about that disconnect. Right now, this whole industry is selling what they have, not what people want. And the reason is that ultimately the people want cannabis. So generally, they're selling what people want. But if they had more knowledge about what people want, what patterns are showing up, how to reach people, they would understand that the reason that the wine industry advertises not with pictures of grape, but with pictures of smiling, pretty people, it's because aspirational advertising works.
Absolutely. It's like when I walk through an art gallery, I just look at the pretty pictures and say, ooh, cool. One from the other means absolutely nothing to me. It's just an aesthetic display of, ooh, cool.
Right. You're not worried about the content of the pigment or whether it's oil or acrylic. For the most part, people want to understand the end-use product. And that's where I think that the industry is going. That's where we really have an opportunity with Greenito and Dispensary Resource and our upcoming brands to really make a global contribution to this industry, because having that reliability, having that information that's available in English and Spanish, having that ability to talk to thousands and thousands of people every day is something that we're very proud of.
I'm curious, when you made this transition into this industry, what did your employer, or I guess now your former employer, what was the reaction or just the overall acceptance of what you were doing?
Well, it's kind of interesting. So I used to be a management consultant, and I've been a prominent fundraiser in political circles as a hobby for years. And when I first started talking about the fact that I was getting into the marijuana industry, even as in the ancillary services side, people have one of two reactions. One is, what do you know about that? And two is, awesome! It's hilarious. There's no negative feedback at all, because what we're doing is educating people about what their options are and giving people a way to understand more about an inevitability. We get a lot of viewers who want news about how new markets are coming online, what's happening in the political landscape. I was reading yesterday that the British Parliament has legislation going through about legalizing medical marijuana. If that happens, that'll be the 9th country to allow marijuana in some form. This is happening. We need to make sure that the people that are using it are aware of how and why and broad benefits of marijuana in a way that also says, use this with caution, understand what it's going to do with you. This is not your grandpa's weed. This is not Phil's baggie. These are things with actual physiological effects on the body, and you need to be really conscious of that. That said, it has remarkable effects for people with real difficulties, even if those difficulties just include wanting to have a little bit of a social lubricant and wanting to be able to simply have a good time. Like, that's okay. We're adults. This is adult use marijuana. And for the people that have, one of the reasons that I actually started this, my godmother was dying of cancer, and she was in a lot of pain. And I went and I got some edibles, and I sat with her, and she kind of poo-pooed it initially, and she took some, and she had the first meal she had had in a week. And that was a really difficult, instructive moment for me, because I think, especially of certain generations, we have so stigmatized this product that people who need it and would really benefit from it choose not to use it. And we talk all the time on our site that this is not for stoners. This is for stoners. Stoners are great. What we want to do is make sure that it's accessible and not intimidating for all walks of people.
Yeah, and that's what it takes. Unfortunately, it takes having that personal connection of knowing somebody or having something happen to somebody before it really clicks. If you're coming just from that old school generation of thought, it's unfortunate, but I think that's probably the only way to really get through to people is to have something unfortunate happen where somebody can finally be exposed and see what's going on. Did your family also have the same reaction as your employer? Everybody was thumbs up about what you were doing?
My mom invested in my company, but she sees the benefit of what we're doing here. We are very proud of our investors, some of whom have been prominent and wildly successful entrepreneurs themselves. And it's one of those sort of hackneyed, sort of cliche, you can do well by doing good. I'm actually a believer in that right now. I think that we are doing good in so many different ways. We're taking the black market out of the biggest criminal enterprise out there. We are making that a reliable and measurable, legitimate marketplace. I think that's genius. I love the fact that we're opening up both tax dollars and public service resources because they're not tracking penny ante marijuana deals anymore. I think that's crazy. The war on drugs, especially marijuana, has absolutely failed, and I'm pleased to be a part of the real team that's out there making progress to make it matter, to make it meaningful. We're really helping sick people. We're really helping grow a lot of businesses and give entrepreneurs a real start. We're doing so much good on so many levels that I'm really very proud of being a part of it.
Absolutely. Me too. And that's pretty much the same feelings I have about this. What is the biggest challenge you've had to overcome in the last couple of years since you've really started this whole development? Kind of the one thing that sticks out that says, if I had the ability to tell somebody else, watch out for this, or if I had the ability to redo it again, this is the biggest challenge I had in starting this venture.
Oh, the biggest challenge is always the unknown, whether it's structuring your software platform or hiring for your grow or developers. It's always unknowns. Anytime there are people involved, you can't predict anything. So you can pencil tweak your model all day long, but it's going to be your ability to work through problems and anticipate change that's going to be the real make or break thing. You know, entrepreneurship is a marathon, not a sprint, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And there's so many people out there that are wanting to get started. What is it that you would say something would have to happen for you to feel like you've kind of made it, or this is now a success? Not saying that you're not succeeding now, and I assume there's much more you want to accomplish, but is there a point where you can kind of look back and say, I think I made something out of this business? Is there something you're looking for? Is it a dollar amount? Is it a time? Is it a market share?
Well, you know, it's hard to speak in terms of market share when the market's changing so rapidly and when we have our fingers in so many different parts of this industry. So it wouldn't be market share. You know, I heard for me, it's a constant series of sort of pinch me moments. Every time I'm asked by somebody that I respect to speak on a panel or to participate or to lead a discussion or, you know, to do this podcast, I'm like, awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to, because there's a lot to learn. As far as valuations go, I heard a funny thing that you'll get a kick out of. Dispensaries that are for sale, of course, have these wildly disparate valuations. And a friend of mine explained it as the DR valuation. And I was like, what's that? And he was like, that is the exact number of the beach house in the Dominican Republic. I just laughed and laughed because it's all of it's sort of murky and it's different than you would calculate for any other industry, and your break-even analysis of, you know, a marijuana product should be consistent with any other valuation model that you do, but it's just not, because there's all kinds of pride in ownership and varying degrees in market penetration, and so the variables that you normally use are a little fluid, and that's a part of the fun and also a part of the challenge. I think one of the challenges that we'll see in Colorado is that unless the external investment structure right now, out-of-state investors can't invest in a grow or dispensary operation that is affiliated with a grow operation. And that's going to be a real challenge for Colorado because that is not the case in Oregon. A lot of investors want to get in this industry, and there are a lot of opportunities, especially with ancillary businesses like mine. But if we're going to restrict investment to people in the neighborhood, that's a dumb way to run a business. It's a dumb way to increase tax revenue. So I hope that the Colorado State Legislature moves in a direction that increases access to capital.
Is this your full-time gig?
That and then some gig. This is my 19 hours a day gig sometimes.
You're locked in. Do you have any ability to go back to any other industry now that you're in this?
Sure. Yeah, what I do is valuable because of what I did. And marketing services and data analysis and understanding about a huge marketplace, that actually I think would probably make me more valuable to previous industries. But I can't see leaving this behind because what we have is insights to this market. And so, think about it. We're the ones with the data. We're the ones with the knowledge. We, that is much broader. It's quantitative analysis rather than qualitative, which is smaller groups and anecdotal information. This is very valuable to a new market, whether that's a new state like Pennsylvania that is coming on board, whether that's a new country. We've got a bunch of friends in the industry that are speaking at a huge international conference in Tel Aviv, Israel today. Talk about pinch me moments. That's so cool that something that we're really driving is available and interesting across the world.
Well, you have a very inspirational story and kind of presence of what's going on and what you're all about here. I've learned a lot, and I think people are going to see what you're talking about, that you bring some value, not just because it's in cannabis, but you have some real business background. Why don't we give out your contact information one more time so people do not have the ability to say they didn't know how to get a hold of you? And
Sure. Our website is www.greenito.com, or if you're up in your Google, just press in greenito.com, and it'll take you right to our site. If you want to get in contact with us, scroll to the bottom of that page or any page on our site and click the Contact Us button, and they tend to send those emails directly to me. If you have a phone question, the phone number is 303-263-0002. But honestly, if you're interested in working with us, investing with us, talking more to us, your best bet is to send that email so that we can get it to the right person.
Excellent. And that is Greenito, Green, Greenito.
Greenito.com. Just click the Contact Us button and we'll get back to you soon.
I really appreciate your time, Mary. I feel like I've learned a lot from you. I feel a little bit more inspired. I'm actually looking forward to following your company and watching it grow, especially with your approach and how you're really data-driven and taking this from a business infrastructure. I'm really looking forward to learning from your business, and hopefully other people that want to start businesses can hear your story and be inspired or see what you're doing and try to copy it to get started, which sometimes is the most difficult part, is just figuring out where that first step is and what to do first.
Well, it's really exciting, and honestly, I'm so flattered to be invited to your show. I have really admired what you do, and anytime. I'm happy to talk with it. I'm happy to panel. I'm happy to talk with you more, because I think this stuff is important. I think people get a lot of unreliable information, and that it's really important and encouraging to talk with other people who are already in it.
Let's meet up again in the studio now.
Let's do it.
On
Yeah,
the
I look
doorstep.
forward to it. We can talk more about these new products as we launch them, too.
Excellent. Well, let's plan on doing that over the next couple months. Have you back in the studio, get some follow-up, learn a little bit more about what's going on, and just keep you involved
Take a picture.
keep you involved in the community here.
That sounds great. I'll look forward to it.
Well, very good,
You have
Mary.
a great day, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it. You too.
It's my pleasure. Take care.
Join us for another show where we'll be discussing more topics, interviewing more guests, and this is getting bigger because of you. We'll see you next week.